This case was really unusual in a lot of ways. For one, we don't get a lot of cases where police officers are charged for on-duty shootings. That's something that has really happened a lot in the last 4 to 5 years, where we've seen indictments and cases going to trial. We had a last-minute witness that came forward after watching portions of the trial and then was allowed to testify, which doesn't usually happen in cases of this magnitude. We were down to no more alternates left on the jury at that point in the deliberations, and you have a mistrial and then a mistrial rescinded, and you have all of these different elements that made this case, which was already a really big case, made it even bigger, made it more confusing, more convoluted, even for us that have been reporting on it since the very beginning. You have a situation where a sheriff's deputy or former sheriff's deputy is on trial for something they did while on duty, while acting as a law enforcement officer. Those cases are high profile, not only here in Columbus, but across the state, across the country. Those cases get a lot of attention. You add in the element that here we have a white deputy and a black man, and there's an added layer of attention focused on it for that reason. This happened in 2020, just about 6 months after all of the protests and everything that had been going on after George Floyd. So the shooting itself occurred in a vacuum of a time where there was a very, very big microscope on policing, and that microscope is still there. This isn't the first police case we've had here in Columbus that has ended in a mistrial and had to be tried a second time. Former Columbus police officer Andrew Mitchell was on trial for murder and voluntary manslaughter in the death of Donna Dalton Castleberry, which happened in August 2018. It went to trial for the first time in 2022. That ended in a mistrial. It went to trial again a second time in 2023, ended with a not guilty verdict for Mitchell on all counts. So this isn't without precedent to have a potential second trial. It shows the difficulty. These are complex legal issues that a jury of 12 non-attorneys is being asked to deliberate and discuss. You've got several different burdens of proof that they're being asked to meet, that they're being asked to determine whether or not have been met, determine whether or not there's guilt or innocence, and then you have the spotlight. There's a camera in that courtroom, not on the jury, but they are very aware of the fact that it's there. And that's a lot of pressure on 12 ordinary citizens to have on them to make a decision and to handle such an important case. Next steps, we got a statement from the prosecutor's office after the decision that the special prosecutors in the case will review the case, what happened, and make a decision about whether or not they will attempt to try Jason Meade a second time. It's not without precedent to do that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a second trial move forward at some point in the future. It'll probably be many, many months before we see a retrial. The attorneys have dockets themselves of cases. The judge has dockets of cases that they have to handle and coordinate around. So it's a complex process. It's not as simple as just saying, everybody come back next week and let's do it again. So we're likely to see something either late in 2024 or maybe early 2025. So Casey Goodson's family has filed that civil lawsuit against Meade and the sheriff's office. That process is largely on hold until the criminal process is done, mainly because the depositions of witnesses that you would want to take, you can't really do because Jason Meade has his Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate himself, and that carries over to the civil case. But it's likely to continue to have to wait until after the criminal process is done.